Oh, damn it. I've been talking this whole time and y'all haven't been able to hear me. But I think I just fixed that. So hopefully you can hear me now. But yeah, apparently there are people who are hoping that the Cowboys would sit their important players. If you've been paying attention to the press conferences and to the sound bites coming out, you know that's not happening. Dak is against it. Most people are against it. The Cowboys are aiming to have a winning season this year, which if they win the last two games, they'll be exactly 500. So we want that for them. Um, and then it just seems to be a general pride thing. They're playing for pride. They're playing for their record. Apparently, and see, this is how you know I don't spend enough time on Twitter these days. I heard people are saying that the Cowboys should tank, and I have thoughts on that as we get into the game. There's going to be a timeout or a commercial break or something where we're going to talk about that. Anyway, right now I'm waiting for the game to start. It is on Netflix, which is different. I do have Netflix, but as soon as I logged on, it was like your subscription now includes live events supported by ads. So hopefully that doesn't mean some random ad break like in the middle of a play. Um, oh, they put Trayvon Diggs in the promo. That was lovely. I feel like we've seen Trayvon Diggs smile more in the past 2 weeks than we have in like the past 2 years. Um, but anyway, so it's on Netflix. Hopefully that doesn't mean any weird ad breaks. We'll see. This is my first time doing a live stream with a live game on Netflix, but it should be fine. Hopefully they're not dumb enough to like cut in the middle of a play and be like, "Oh, here's an ad." But when I first logged on, it was like 2 minutes of ads. So they're about to do the coin toss. I'm about to send these notifications out, um, and then we'll get a kickoff. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thank you for this super chat, and Merry Christmas to you too, Chris. You know what's funny? I was watching the playback of the last live stream we did, and at the end, when you said something about like not all guys being trash, but I thought you were referring to a comment that I had made about the Cowboys players, and I completely went on a tangent and started ranting about that. And then when I was playing it back, I realized what you were talking about. You were talking about the comment that I had made about dating, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, that was completely gone from my mind." Anyway, we've got the kickoff about to happen, so I'm not going to send out notifications yet. If y'all have time, y'all can send out notifications to people or tweet or share the link and be like, hey, come join the live stream. But I want to watch this kickoff and see what happens, especially with them talking so much about Turpin all season. So Turpin's running out of the end zone. Let's see if he can actually get some. As much as we talk about Turpin, y'all, these blocks for him look terrible. I want them to get a new special teams coordinator so bad. So you just said, I know, I just let you have it. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. All right. Well, Dallas first and 10 from their own. Where did Turpin end up? Looks like from their own 22. Dak hands the ball off for a predictable run up the middle by Javante Williams on the first play. Looks like he got about 3 or 4 yards. So they're marking it as second down and 6. I will say so far I do like the Netflix broadcast. I really do. I like the graphics. I like the announcers. All right, we got Dak and shotgun on second and 6. Looks like he tried to pass it in the backfield to Javante Williams, went over his head. And now Dallas is at third and 6 on the opening drive. We don't like the situation. We don't like the Cowboys. We don't like the 2025 Cowboys in third and long. But let's see if they can do something with it today. Maybe we can get a Christmas gift of an efficient offense in third and long and in the red zone. That would be wonderful. I feel like a lot of fans would appreciate that. All right, Dak in shotgun. He drops back. What the hell? Okay. I said, what the hell? Because there was some obvious interference on Turpin. Like he was on the ground before the ball even got out of Dak's hands. Looks like it might have been Igbenogany, former Cowboy. Pass interference, defense number 6. So Igbenogany. So that is the first time for the Cowboys. Not the efficient offense we were hoping for. I have to I'm gonna be honest, that was weird with George Pickens and Turpin ending up in the same spot that way. I almost feel like the Cowboys got lucky in that one because it looked like a broken play. Ooh, and Williams just knocked the hell out of who was that? Out of Sanders still. I love it. I think one of my favorite things about Javante Williams might be his willingness to lower his body. I'm not even going to say his head, to lower his body and put his shoulder in a dude to try to get an extra yard. Who allowed Dak to get hit? I don't know, JV, but I will watch closer for that. I can only keep my eye on so many things. All right, so Javante Williams got tripped up on the 2nd and 1, ends up falling. We got a 3rd and short. And Javante's jersey is already dirty, but the middle of the Commanders field looks very grimy. Ugh. That was an ugly pass by that. I don't know if there. I would have to look back and see if there was anybody else open. Hold on, they're showing it. Yeah, that was so Dak missed a pass on the 3rd and 1. Looks like he was trying to squeeze it into a very tight window. There was tight coverage on pretty much every available target. Um, and the guy just reached over Javante Williams' shoulder and knocked the ball down. So they're going for it on 4th and 1, passing it off to Javante, who gets the first down and then some. Awesome. 3rd and short, 4th and short. I'm here for the Cowboys and what they bring to the table. It's those 3rd and long situations that just have made me nervous all season with them. All right, so we got a new set of downs approaching Commander's territory, and Dak is launching it. This is like the 3rd time Dak has hit a target on the head or the shoulder. So incomplete pass by Dak. Now we got a 2nd and 10 situation. I'm watching this replay to see what happened. Okay. So I'm actually not going to blame that on Dak. He probably could have thrown it a little bit ahead of him so CD didn't have to slow up. But it was another situation of tight coverage and the defender being able to reach over and prevent the completion. I don't think that was a PI, Chris. That because it wasn't a PI because he played on the ball. Like, had he made contact with the CD before that pass got off, I could see it. But it was super tight coverage. CD actually had to slow down to make the catch, which actually allowed the defender to be in the perfect position to reach over and prevent the completion. So he played on the ball. I can't say that was PI. And then we just had Malik Davis with I don't know how long that run was, but the Cowboys are now on the Commanders 31. I know one thing. These Commanders are like determined to not let Dak get a good pass completion today. Every single one. They are sitting on the target and reaching over at the last second, and they're playing it smart. They're playing very close coverage and then playing on the ball as soon as it's launched. Um, I don't like the fact that it's happening to the Cowboys, but like I got to give props when I see good football. Like these defenders are doing their thing, and Dak and Shoddy are gonna have to figure out how to scheme these guys open with a little bit more space. And Dak's gonna have to figure out how to get the ball to a place where only his targets can get it. Could be tricky. Could be a tricky day for the Cowboys passing game if these defenders keep it up. What I'm wondering if they have enough confidence in Dak's targets to maybe try something like a flood concept, something that might confuse the defenders a little bit, make it a little bit harder to keep such close, tight coverage. Um, These Netflix graphics are so cute. There's like glitter and snow on the screen now. All right, we got a 3rd and 5. All right. George Pickens got open. That was lovely. It would be nice if the broadcast view would have showed more of that route. All right, maybe we'll see it now. Okay. So yeah, it's George and that just ability to be able to stop and turn on a dime. Beautiful. So he sorry, it's so hard for me to watch the screen and talk at the same time. I'm working on it though. Pickens jumps in anticipation. I think Pickens jumped because he knows that guys are going to try to tackle him low. So, I wouldn't say he got an extra yard out of that. He might have got an extra couple of feet. It's not bad instincts. Miss Felony Strutter said that was a TD to Lamb. He holds the ball too long. I can't even be mad at Dak for it because they're playing such good coverage that I think Dak is having a harder time deciding who to target. It's like this is what Dak looks like when he's ooh, excellent Ferg. So excellent Ferg bobbled the ball with one hand in the end zone and then was able to bring it in. Really proud of him for that. Because that's the kind of thing that I feel like there's been a couple of games this season we've seen him in the same situation where he dropped it. But what we've seen with these last couple of passes, with the one to Ferg, that trying to get the ball to where only his target can get it, so throwing it basically on the other side of Ferg to where Ferg would have to reach. And then with Pickens, that was just an excellent route where the defenders weren't able to play as close coverage because the route that he ran basically forced them to have to come back to him, and they were dropped back in an area where they thought he was going, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna come back to my quarterback and help him out a little bit. He needs it." So looks like Dak is figuring out. The targets are figuring it out. They might be okay. They might be okay. JV, who didn't have to attempt yet? Are you saying that's why Ferg did good on that catch because he didn't have to attempt Yak? Oh, you will not leave him alone. Hilarious. Chris, Dak is not taking his pads off unless this game is like in the bag, or unless it looks like they're gonna lose terribly, which we don't want that. So we're not putting that in the universe. So unless this game looks like it's super in the bag, wrapped up, I don't think we're gonna see Joe Milton today. Dak has made it clear that he wants to play. All right, we got a commercial break. I'm gonna send out these notifications real quick. In the meantime, what did y'all think of that first drive? I still think if it weren't for that PI in the very beginning of the drive, it might have been stalled. Oh geez, these people. Chris said, "Where's my family?" Most of my family lives in Louisiana. I have some friends in Austin. I've got friends in other parts of the country. I don't have any family here. Not here. To answer that question. Yeah, JV, I banned them and removed their comments. What the hell is that? Is that made out of wood or some kind of bread? Oh, Jesus. These spam bots are so annoying. And I think the most annoying thing is that like they won't come up with something new. I'm just like, if you do this on a stream, you're gonna get banned and deleted. And I feel like at some point YouTube ends up flagging your account. I'm just like, is it really worth it? Whatever the hell you like, nobody's clicking on that. I'm like, make better bots. At least try to bait me in with a question and then like hit me with the spam. All right, I'm watching the game, JV. I'm gonna let you handle these. Duh, duh, duh. All right, so now we got Cowboys on defense. Looks like they're starting with a five-man front. Is that Reddy Stewart on the line? Yeah. They have put Reddy Stewart is not talked about enough. Uh they have lined this little man up everywhere. All right, we got the Commanders with the first down. Looks like it was Diggs on the coverage. In that soft coverage that he hates. All right, so we got another pass for a first down. McLaurin breaks a tackle, makes a guy miss, more likely. Yeah, Chris, both QBs are hurt for Washington. I wasn't even sure who was going to start today. That's why I put Louisville on the thumbnail because I was just like, I have not been keeping up with who exactly is behind center for the Commanders. And I think that's why the Cowboys are such heavy favorites. But it's like I always say, when you're playing against professionals, as we see right now with Debo Samuel making whoever this QB is look good. It's like whoever gets him the ball, he's gonna make them look good. Goodness. And Dono got his helmet knocked off. I don't know if they're gonna check on him after that, but at least he didn't give up on the play. He immediately went back to trying to get Debo out of bounds. But I do kind of need the Cowboys defense to wake up a little bit. And I don't know. It kind of looks like Debo pushed his helmet off with his hand. I feel like there should be some kind of whatever. They're moving on. First and goal for the Commanders. All right, so we got second and goal for the Commanders. We got six guys on the line for the Cowboys. Commanders try to run it, they get stopped. It's third and goal now. I have to think that they're going to try to run a pass play here because the Cowboys have been way better at stopping the run than they are at like limiting the pass opportunities today. All right, so we got third and goal for the Commanders. We got four on the line for the Cowboys. And it looks like they're aiming to pass it as predicted. And we got Jadavian Clowney with the sack. I love this guy. I want him back on the team so bad. So it looks like the Cowboys actually made some really good decisions in terms of their coverage. So I think not only me, not only y'all, but I think everybody knew the Commanders were probably going to try to pass it there. The Cowboys responded accordingly. A lot easier in the red zone to get good coverage. You know what I mean? So they pretty much did their job there. And then Jadavian Clowney cleaned it up. All right, Miss Felony Strutter, I'm not sure what's got you so upset, but I really don't like people coming in my chat and calling my audience idiots. Like if you got a point, you can make your point, but like I really don't like the name calling in sports. Like among sports fandoms. Like I know some people like really get down with that shit, but I'm not a fan of it. All right. So yeah, what you're not gonna do is come in my chat and tell me you don't give a shit when I say, hey, don't do certain things in the chat. Miss Felony Shredder's been on a few of my streams. Y'all have seen her, but like I will ban you. I don't care. Um, so yeah, I see it's a few more people watching today than normally watch. Like, make your points. You can cuss, you can talk shit about players. JV, I already banned her. You can cuss, you can talk shit about your players, you can go back and forth, you can tell somebody they're wrong, you can tell somebody they don't make sense, you can tell somebody that they're always wrong. I don't care. But when you start calling people fools, idiots, telling them that they're bitching, that's when I'm just like, okay, now you're killing the vibe. Go away. Go away. Because it's like I couldn't even really understand her point because she's so busy insulting other people. I'm not even sure what the fuck that she was trying to say. We don't always agree on everything. Sometimes I say something and JV will come back and be like, "No, it was actually this," and I'm just like, "All right, I can either see it or I can't. We don't need all that bullshit to disagree. We don't need all that bullshit to have debates. Debate away. But when it starts turning into name calling, especially when that starts getting targeted at me, and you start calling me names and telling me you don't give a shit, fuck no, we're not doing that." It's like I might be busy watching the screen, but I'm not that fucking busy. Maybe she will, Chris, and I'll handle it then too. So JV, I don't know what options y'all have on y'all side. I'm in StreamYard. So when I'm in StreamYard, the options that they give me are to delete a comment, to put a user in timeout, or ban user and delete their comments. So I don't get the like 60-second whatever. So like if I see something I don't like, I'm either gonna delete the comment. Like had she just done it once, I might delete the comment. Like because she had been going for a while. So I won't delete like one comment. I'll just be like, hey, chill out. But like when they start going off over and over again, then I'm gonna delete and ban. And I don't know how long the ban is for, but it's your fault at that point. So I don't know the difference between hidden and 60-second timeout because I'm like delete and ban. Bye. That is so rude. Oh my god. Did y'all just see this graphic where they had the team decorating the tree and then they were like, and then we asked the defense just to do the simple things, and then dude falls as he's trying to put the star on the tree? That's messed up. They're saying the defense ruined Christmas. Can't even put up Christmas decorations with this defense. So Chris, I'm glad you said this. A lot of people took Bones for granted because people take special teams for granted. Like special teams is one of those things that people don't think about until you have a bad special teams unit. Apparently, I need to talk more about like the coordinators who do a good job because I loved Bones. Like I was always just like, he's so smart. He's like when I would say when I would say Fossil was one of the most brilliant minds for special teams in the NFL, I meant that shit literally. I wasn't exaggerating. I wasn't saying that because of Cavante Turpin's huge runbacks. I was saying that because I was watching his press conferences. I was keeping up with the things he was doing on the backside in terms of the NFL rule committees and stuff like that. And I'm just like listening to stuff this man is saying and how he breaks down special teams and what he does and what he doesn't do and why. And I'm like, yo, this man, they need to keep him around. And they didn't. Maybe the front office also took Bones for granted. That's very possible. They're human. But nah, Bones is the best special teams coordinator in the NFL, maybe second best. But like I could argue the best. The results of the Tennessee Titans won't show it, obviously, because you need more than special teams, but special teams does matter. It makes a difference. Where was I trying to get to? Right now, they're saying the Cowboys have an 85% probability of winning this game. All right, and we got a run by Javante Williams, who is continuing to run while a grown ass man is literally holding him back. That is crazy. Well, JV, they're bots, so it's programming. So it's like when you copy and paste something, all you're doing. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you in a minute. That gets a pass off to. Thank you. I'm like, that's gotta be pass interference. CD Lamb was on the ground before the pass even got off, really. So yeah, when you copy and paste something, you're just inputting commands into a computer, right? And so when we do it, it's like control V. And it might take less than a second, but basically if you put in the command to where you don't need a human pressing keys to do it, you can get several off in less than a second, basically. And Dak Prescott is set. That was a first down though, so we're gonna have a second and long situation. Hopefully they have a plan for this. You asked, do I have a slow post mode? I do not. I might. That's something that I can look at on the break and see if maybe I have um I know what you're talking about. Like where you have to like follow or you have to be subscribed for a certain amount of time in order to ooh, Malik Davis with a good run. I love it. I don't know why people watch Malik Davis and are still worried about Jaden Blue. Like I want the best for Jaden Blue, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, we have Malik Davis. He has been a solid number 2 running back this season. He's done some great things. And maybe it's because of his reputation. Like in the past seasons, um, is Williams out of date? No, Williams has had a few good runs. All right. So we got a 4th and 1 by the Cowboys, pretty much on the 50-yard line. Let's see what they go with. Dak drops back, searching for a target, gets it off to Pickens, who made himself open again. This is why he's a Pro Bowler. And he seems like he has energy to spare with that celebration. But in a game where the Commanders are playing ridiculously tight coverage, Pickens is managing to get himself open on these sudden moves over and over again. And like that first pass he caught, that was a timing route situation. This second one, that was a situation of him just getting away from a dude who was on him. Hey CG, good to see you. Thanks for coming through. Feliz Año Nuevo to you too. I gotta brush up on my Spanish. I haven't practiced Spanish in a long time. So CG is playing video games and listening to the stream. What games are you playing, CG? All right. Short game by the Cowboys. Looks like we're gonna have a third and like one or two after this. After this break. Let's go ahead and refresh this and look at some stats. All right. Cowboys now are at an 86% probability of winning. And Dak, because of that rough first drive in terms of completions, he's at a 50% completion rate, but he is trending upward. He is trending upward. He's doing better now than he was at the very beginning of the game. Got a touchdown so far and no interceptions. So things are looking good. I don't know why they took this score off the screen. But anyway, Cowboys are leading 7-3. Looks like they're making their way down the field, trying to add to that score total. Did y'all get anything good for Christmas? um, I've had a few people send me money, like just send me money. I haven't gotten like actual gifts. CG said I'm old, so all I got was money. Is that what happens as people get older? People just start like sending you a Venmo, like Merry Christmas. What is this advertisement for? Is this for One Piece? Because I just saw a Straw Hats Pirates logo in a. Okay, I think it's for Netflix in general. All right, interesting. Money and clothes. I think nobody really knows what to get me in terms of clothes because people are like, we don't even know what you do anymore. I was trying to click on something else. These bots are ridiculous. I forgot to look for the option you were talking about, JV. JV, I'm glad you're happy to be here. Hopefully this feels like a Christmas gift to everyone. This is my Christmas gift to my audience. I'm here on Christmas doing a live stream for a noon game. So Tolbert caught the pass, but it looks like it was ripped away before he hit the ground. That was his chance. Tolbert needed that. Tolbert needed that more than the Cowboys needed that touchdown. CG said, "I'm thankful though. I'm saving for an e-bike, not a statement or anything of the sort. They're unregulated in Mexico, so you don't have to register to get a special license." Oh, cool. JV said Tolbert can go. I have a feeling Tolbert might go. In one of Schottenheimer's recent press conferences, he mentioned that he had talked to Tolbert about how the season has gone for him, and he said uh, that it's been really hard on him. Um, and with Shotty saying that it's really hard on him, and just made a point to talk about the fact that Tolbert is really trying to cope with the results of the season. It almost He didn't say this. I feel like I need to point out that he well, that was a good pass for Tolbert. He didn't say this, but it almost had the tone of I had to talk to Tolbert about the fact that he's falling in the depth chart and may not be back. And that's why I feel like he's getting the spotlight today before Flournoy does. Because I feel like I don't think he can work his way back up the depth chart at this point. But if they do want to trade him, they need good film on him. They need to make him look good as they start looking for options in the offseason. And so I think Tolbert has a lot of potential to be good. Don't get me wrong. I think the Cowboys might not be the best place for him because they have CD, they have Flournoy, they have Pickens, obviously. Um, but there might be another team where he gets more reps or he works better with whatever system that they have, and he's able to work his way up the depth chart there. Being practice squad quality, as y'all are saying in the chat for the Cowboys, doesn't mean you'll be practice squad quality everywhere. But it is, I believe, time for them to look at his contract, right? Hold on. So yeah, unrestricted free agent in 2026. All right. We got a pitch back to Malik Davis. Uh, he did not quite get the first down. So now we got a fourth and very short for the Cowboys. So we'll see if they go for it or if they just decide to put more points on the board. John Javante did not lose his starting spot. He started and has had some very good runs. But he's been running his ass off all season. So Malik Davis is getting the rock a little bit more today, which is fine. Malik Davis has done great. And Javante on that run shows the difference between him and Malik Davis. And that's why Malik Davis is a very strong number two. But Javante Williams can fight over and over again for those few extra feet, like he just showed us in that run, and get the first down when he needs to. All right. So we had Dak fake the handoff to Malik Davis. Now that did look like PI by Igbenogany on Ferguson, but the refs are not calling it. So Ferguson hit the ground. It counts as in. I can see why they didn't call it in slow motion. I can see why they didn't call it. It's another situation of tight coverage, and these Commanders defenders are doing a really good job at positioning themselves like they're playing on the ball. All right, that got the ball to Pickens. Pass incomplete. I'm trying to see what this penalty is for. If they're going to call that pass interference. Let's see. Because I felt like that was similar to what happened with Ferguson, honestly. Okay, they're saying unnecessary roughness. I Although that call is in the favor of the Cowboys, I don't know how I feel about it. Reason being, that happened so fast. I don't know if they're calling helmet to helmet or if they're calling it because he was hit to the ground and didn't have the ball. I'm not really sure what they're calling there. It looked incidental to me, but I'm gonna let the refs do their jobs today. Because at least Javante Williams killing it again for the touchdown. Oh my goodness. So on a first and goal after that penalty by the Commanders, Cowboys run it straight up the middle. Javante Williams fights for the extra feet, gets into the end zone, and now the Cowboys are up 13-3. Are they going to go for one or two? They go for the extra point from Brandon Aubrey. Cowboys are up 14-3. Looks like they're having a good Christmas. JV, I don't know if we're going to see any of those guys today. Shotty was kind of talking like, this is a good time for me to look and see if I have that option that you're talking about. Actually, I think I need to do it from desktop. Let's see. But yeah, Shotty was talking like with the short week, the short turnaround from Sunday to Thursday, like he wasn't really looking to get those guys in. So I'm trying to remember how to get to the live stream dashboard because like there's a different thing for the live streams than there is for the regular content. And I can't really remember. Okay, the live control room. All right, I think this is it. All righty. So if I go to stream settings, no, that's not what I need. I'm learning this shit in real time, y'all. Um, let's see. Community moderation. Okay, so there's an option to hold potentially inappropriate messages. I got a lot of hidden users on here. Channel guidelines. Du-du-du. The only thing that I can think of would be to the only option I have is to hold inappropriate messages, and I don't want to do that because I don't want it to start holding messages that have like profanity or something. So yeah, I think I will look into that another time, JV. Maybe at halftime. I don't know. We'll see how the day goes. But I'll look into it. I'll see if I can figure out is my mic charged yet? Yeah, we're good. We can unplug this. But yeah, I see people with like way more people in the chat and watching um than I have, and they don't seem to have this problem. So there's got to be a setting or something that that allows for that. But I'll look into it. But honestly, this shit is annoying. I kind of want to resolve it now, but I'm trying to watch the game. If somebody has time to Google it and wants to put it in the chat, how I stop bots from commenting on my live stream, let me know. So Dak is on the sideline with his little beanie on instead of a helmet. All right. And the Cowboys get stopped. What I want to see from the Cowboys defense this drive is I want to see them play like they remember that the Commanders have weapons. Merry Christmas, Clement. Good to see you. Thanks for coming through. Also, everybody watching, don't forget to hit the like button. As you come in or before you leave, just hit the like button. That can be a Christmas gift to me. Another Christmas gift to me can be if you go on my interview with Ken Rogers and hit the like button and hit the hype button on that video. It's doing pretty good in terms of views. I would like to see it get more, you know. All right, we got the Commanders on 1st and 15. Cowboys almost got a sack there, very close. I'm trying to listen to what Emmett Smith is saying and watch the game. That's why I'm a little bit more quiet. So Clement says we're allowing too many explosive plays in the passing game. We have to really look at the secondary and linebacker positions first, and then the D line to stop the run and get to the passer. So yeah, it looks like they are relying on the guys up front to limit the explosive passes. So like right now, they got 6 dudes on the line, and I guess they're trying the strategy of putting pressure on the quarterback to kind of force him to get the ball out quicker. They're not allowing as much time for those explosive plays to develop. And that seems to be working on this drive. Watching Reddy Stewart guard Debo Samuel is ridiculous. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if there was a player I could talk to in the offseason, Reddy Stewart would be on my short list for that because this is a guy who we've seen him line up everywhere. He's been in the secondary, he's been on the second level with the linebackers, he's been on the line of scrimmage. We see him covering receivers, we see him going in trying to make plays on the quarterback. fire Nick Sorensen. Um, and then it's not just the fact that he's able to do all that. It's the fact that, let's be real, Reddy Stewart is a small dude. And I'm just like, how is your body even big enough to hold that much heart? Like, this dude plays with heart. He plays for ferocity. He plays like he's about 3 feet taller and 500 pounds heavier than he really is. Like, I know that's an exaggeration, but I'm just like, who is this man? I'm like, we don't get enough interviews from him. We don't get enough features on him. I want to know more about Reddy Stewart. Chris said it would be nice if Revel and Diggs could work out, would make the offseason not as hectic. Yeah. I from listening to how they're talking about Diggs, I think they have faith in Diggs and they understand that it's just taking a second for him to come back. Like, this is his second game after an extended time away. And even before he was out for several weeks, it didn't really seem like him and this system were exactly getting along. So I feel like they're being patient with Diggs. With Revel, going back to our conversation on Sunday about him potentially being a strong safety, I've heard nothing suggesting that they might make that change. However, I wouldn't be mad at it if they did, because he's got good instincts on those types of plays. But it's when he's expected to act as a true corner that he actually looks his worst. So I'm just like, if he's already showing you what he's good at, just assign him to do what he's proven that he's good at. You know what I mean? All right, I'm about to Google this, y'all. How to prevent bots in YouTube live stream. It says use YouTube Studio's moderation tools, automated filters, and blocked words. Enable stricter chat settings like subscriber only or follower only mode. Set comment holding and use trusted third party bots like SiriBot for extra protection. It also says slow mode is an option, but I don't really know how to do that. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna work on this again at the next commercial break. I think I might have figured out how to get to slow mode. You would think that they would just make this shit easier. Like, because when you're setting up a live stream, it's all these settings that you have to pick, and you would think that they would just be like, "Would you like to turn on slow mode?" And I could be like, "Yes." All right, we got a pass to Limb, but he wasn't able to get upfield. Cowboys started very deep in their own territory on this drive, so This season, they just haven't been very good at getting out of these situations. I'm happy for Tolbert getting all this playing time, but I really do think that it means that he's going to be traded. All right, we got Dak in shotgun, launching it down the field, gets it to Turpin. Okay, Turpin. Put him on Hard Knocks every week. There's a flag on the play, but I'm thinking that's on the Commanders because we saw a guy jump before the play. All right, Turpin. It's been a good week for Devontae Turpin. I wonder if this will slow down the Turpin haters on Twitter. There's a lot of them. I went to Twitter and I searched Devontae Turpin's name and I was like, damn, y'all hate this man. JV, what'd you send me on X? All right, we got a commercial break. Let me see if I can follow these instructions and stop the bots. In the meantime, what did y'all like about that drive? It definitely ended better than it started. All right. I'm in the live control room. It says find the live chat section. Y'all really make this difficult. I literally don't see the option that they're talking about. CJ said, "All right, now we can put in Milton." I don't think they're going to put in Milton until after halftime. Well, Clement, you're right about that, but I think JV, you're asking if I saw your comment. Can you block the phrase NFL game? Maybe. Because I don't think y'all have a reason to use that phrase. And if you do, If you do, sorry. Okay. All right. So blocked words. Separate words and phrases by commas. Depot Samuel said, I don't care if we are losing. I'm gonna get my highlights today. Lord. Debo Samuel is acting as the reality check for the Dallas Cowboys today. Like, hey, don't think just because your offense is doing its thing that all of a sudden your team is good. Like your defense still needs work, and I'm going to show you why. Yeah, JV, there's a few people watching um who aren't commenting, so who knows? I'm gonna block a few more things. Okay, I think I have adjusted everything I can adjust today. If something else pops up, I'll handle it. What's really funny is that a lot of these posts aren't even linking to anything now. They're just there. Like, go away. All right, so now I can get back to watching the game. And more ads from Netflix. So one of the things that Ken Rogers talked about in my interview with him, um, oh no, I'm not clicking on them, Chris. I'm just looking at them, and I'm just like, just from looking at the link, they don't seem like links of value. Is what I was saying. I'm like, basically, like, who would click, who would click on these? Despite what Miss Felony Strutter said, I don't think I have idiots in my chat. I don't think y'all are dumb enough to click on any of those things. Um, Sorry, I got distracted by the Toyota Thong song. Wow, they are just doing the most. Hold on, I got to go on an ADHD tangent after seeing that. Do y'all remember when the Thong song came out and how controversial it was? I just feel like it just goes to show how if you give anything time, you can give just about anything time and it can go from controversial to like, oh yeah, now it's funny, now it's quirky, now it's quaint. Now we can make jokes about it. And so it just like really makes you think a lot of this stuff that they talk about is like, oh, it's so dangerous for the kids. It's so bad for society. Is it really? Or if you give it time, will you just get over it maybe? Like there's so many things that I remember just being like sometimes called actual signs of the devil when I was younger. Like this is of the devil, that is of the devil. This is going to be the downfall of society. Da da da. And now you fast forward and it's like, it was never that deep. JV, I loved that music video. And even as a kid, I thought the concept was hilarious. I was like, this man is doing heartfelt, emotional R&B runs about a thong and somehow black backflipping to the top of a pyramid in sand. People let Cisco get away with so much shit. Unleash the Dragon, really? Really? We had an R&B singer out here pouring out his heart and soul to women's underwear and talking about unleashing the dragon. And nobody checked him on that shit ever. I was like, what? Cisco was a walking, singing punchline, but he got away with that shit because he had bitches and he had money. Like, just thinking about it in hindsight. Oh my God. Who was that who just missed a tackle again? Why do I still not know these guys' names? Who is 41, y'all? There was something I was gonna say before I went on a tangent about Cisco, and I don't even remember. Oh, easiest 41? Okay. Nice coverage by Reddy Stewart. Samuel doing a little celebration because it was a flag. I don't agree with that call. Announcers are saying that he got their hair early. I feel like that's a ticky tack call. I don't agree with it. I'm not holding that against Reddy Stewart. But seeing him hop on Debo Samuel like he was trying to get a piggyback ride is hilarious. All right. And Cowboys defense shows that they still don't know how to tackle. Three people try to take down Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, and none of them are capable. And this wasn't a lower your shoulder situation like we've seen with Javante Williams. This was men trying to grab this man and just slipping off. Saw Malik Hooker try. We saw Sam Williams try. I do agree that that was a BS call that led to the score. I'm with you on that one. And no, you're right, Clement. They've struggled all season with the tackling, and it doesn't make sense. And here's why: because people are saying things like, "Well, because of the rules, they can't practice tackling, yada yada yada." Those rules apply to every team in the NFL. So if other teams are figuring out how to tackle, how to bring guys to the ground, the Cowboys have the same capability. And here's something else that I want to say when it comes to what guys are working on. I've had the privilege of engaging with competitive athletes from a variety of different sports, several different sports, not just football, not just basketball. I've talked to tennis players, soccer players, track runners, roller derby players, all kinds of people. I don't know a single person who performed at a high level in their sport and didn't put in a shit ton of time on their own. And I mean, the best players I've ever come across spend more of their own time practicing their craft, working on their skills than they do at practice. Whatever the team mandates, they're doing double, triple that. So I say that to say, I know people who have played other contact sports. And when it comes to like how to be efficient, how to be good at that contact, they will spend time on their own practicing. So even if the team says, "Hey, we can't put y'all in pads however often. We can't, we can't have y'all full contact however often." If what you need to work on is technique and wrapping up on a guy, one, you can practice that without going 100% because we're not talking about force. They're clearly leaving their feet and launching at these dudes. I'd say a bigger problem is the fact that they're not wrapping up and they're not aiming for the right parts of the body. You can practice that on your own. You can practice that with a position trainer, not necessarily a position coach who like works for the team, but in all these cities where there are professional teams, there are trainers who live in that city who literally help guys both in college and in the pros, or like in Dallas they have guys who work at all three levels, high school, college, pros, and will help guys work on their technique. And I'm just like, there's so many options for getting better at this shit that I'm just like, do I want to blame the coaches? Yes. But do I put on the players too? Yes. But then, like I talked about last time, it kind of brings me back to the idea of if these players don't have it in them to put in the next level of effort to get the results, I feel like that kind of reflects on the coaches too. If it was one or two guys, I would put it just on them. If it was one or two guys. But when we're seeing an entire unit just being like, fuck it, that to me says the coach isn't able to speak to them. He doesn't have their hearts and minds. They don't respect him. Sorry for coughing into the mic, guys. JV says Maris Lufau still has to work on wrapping up. Yes, he does. That is something we've talked about all season. It has not changed. Maris is going to be one that I will be watching at training camp because I was really looking forward to watching this arc in Leofau's story of him coming in as a third rounder, not really sought after coming out of college. Um, his team was really good. Like Notre Dame was a good team his last year there, and he got a lot of buzz after their, was it a playoff game or a bowl game? Whatever they did. I remember him getting a lot of buzz. I remember seeing him on camera a lot. And that's why when the Cowboys drafted him, I was like, oh, I remember that guy. I liked him. I liked what I saw from him. Um, but he was a third rounder for a reason, right? But they talked so much about his football IQ and these raw skills and talents that he had that I was looking forward to seeing what he could become with the Cowboys. And now it looks like he's kind of reverted a little bit. JV says, I want Maris Leafau as a green dot. Eberflus fucked it up this season. Apparently they've actually been giving Demo a lot of run at the green dot position, which Demo has a very high football IQ as well. They talk a lot about his physical abilities, which he has them. 100% he has them, but he's also very smart. Okay, let me get back to actually talking about the game. Cowboys probability has gone from 91 to 93%. That gets the ball in shotgun, has to run out of the pocket, runs for the first down. I thought he was going to try to run it in because he got past that first down marker and he kept going. I'm like, where you going, Dak? uh, Dak with a 50-plus yard touchdown run would make my day. Oh man. False start, Cowboys. CG says, I will say and don't want to jinx it, but if this game continues to trend the way it's trending, get Dak out. You don't want him to blow his ACL, then miss half the next season. That's legit. JV says Agent Zero should be attacking and blitzing. I don't care how smart he is, respectfully. I feel you on that. Um, I kind of wish I knew which plays he had the green dot specifically, because I am interested to know if it affects his play style or his tendencies. But yeah, I would much rather see Maris get more snaps, him be the green dot, Demo doing his thing as outlined by JV, and Jack Sanborn and Kenneth Murray and Logan Wilson the fuck up out of here. Honestly, um, now Logan, I'm willing to give him a chance. You know, his snaps had gone down dramatically before he came to the Cowboys, so I don't know if he just needs more time to adjust. But from the other two, K9, Sanborn, I've seen enough. CG, I'm wondering if Dak is playing for anything today. Last time, so in the last game, we realized that there was a record that Dak might be aiming for related to 250 passing yards that he might have still been in the game for. Um, and I'm wondering if there's anything related to that this time. All right. So, according to Next Gen Stats, Dak Prescott has passed for at least 270 yards 6 times this season and 4 times since week 12, tied for the most of any quarterback in that span. Prescott's 38 pass attempts per game since week 12 are the fifth most in that span. The Commanders are allowing 241.7 passing yards per game and 26.9 points. So, it's possible that he could be playing for that 270-yard marker, kind of like it seemed like he was going for the 250 last time. Commanders are 411, yada, yada, yada. We know that. George Pickens is third in the NFL with 1,342 receiving yards in 2025. Those are the most receiving yards by a Cowboys player in their first season with the team in franchise history. Congratulations, George Pickens. What else we got? Dak Prescott is 12-2 in his career as a starter against Washington. So I would say those are the most significant insights that might actually impact this game. And we got one by about Javante. On his rush attempts, Javante Williams has traveled 3.2 yards of distance per yard gained on the ground, the lowest mark, i.e., most efficient moving downhill among rushers with 100 carries this season. So they said Javante gets carries, Malik gets carries, Dak gets carries. He just ran the ball again for a few yards. CG says, I'm not an analytics guy. I am also not an analytics guy or girl. I enjoy reading them, but as far as like figuring it out myself, not so much. Who gets the ball in the second half? The Commanders will get the ball in the second half. The Cowboys started with it in this game. Dak drops back and gets the ball to Tolbert. I forgot Fournette also had that injury scare, in that last game. So maybe they're taking it easy with him because even though he was cleared from what I understand and it wasn't anything serious, it is kind of like, okay, you're ascending, right? Or so y'all can see it in the screen, you're ascending. So we don't want to risk aggravating whatever it is that happened. So even though the MRI came back with good results, we'll let Tolbert get some snaps in this game. Now, do I still think there's a good chance that they let Tolbert go, trade him something? Well, can you trade an unrestricted free agent? No, they would just have to. I think they would just have to let him go and not sign him. John says, I thought the Cowboys traded away their first and kept the Packers. I think that is the case as well. Um, I'm trying to think if I read that anywhere. I might have to look into that, but it would make sense. I could see a team negotiating that way because naturally you would expect the Cowboys to have a higher uh position than the Packers. So I could a hundred percent see a team in trade negotiations being like, no, we want your pick. And Tolbert makes one guy miss, gets a couple of extra yards after that initial tackling attempt. Good job, Tolbert. All right, so it looks like the Cowboys are trying to work on some time management to make sure that if they don't have time to get it in the end zone, Brandon Aubrey can get a kick. All right, and Dak Prescott gets sacked. It must have been a coverage situation. The screen didn't really show what was going on downfield, but you see Dak scanning. He's looking. He's like, somebody get open. And they keep showing Dak and not what his targets are doing. This is so annoying on these replays. Like, I get that the sack is exciting, but I don't need to see it 3 times. Show it to me twice and then show me where were the fucking receivers. CG said, I just realized it really is hard to refer to this channel in the chat itself. CG, you should be able to say bitch, but I do have guys who follow me who don't like to use that word at all, and they just call it BLS. Also, my name is Jazz. You can just call me by my name. Tyler Smith got beat around the end. Terrible footwork. So that's the part that they're not talking about with Tyler Smith going to left tackle. And it's like, they interviewed Tyler Smith about it. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, that might be. I was trying to adjust my camera. Anyway, they interviewed Tyler Smith about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I can line up anywhere, and I consider that to be a skill of mine." Yada yada yada. Players are I'm not gonna say they have to say that, but it's just like if you talk to most players, the way that they work on their mental conditioning, they're never gonna say that there's anything that they think they can't do, especially if they've been asked to do it. But the fact of the matter is, playing left guard is different than playing left tackle. Your footwork is different. Some of the things you have to watch out for are different. Your timing is going to be different. The way guys attack you is going to be different. Even if you can do it, there will at minimum be an adjustment period. So that's why I'm not surprised that his footwork looks off. Like just going back and forth between positions like that. He said, "Yeah, you're funny, bitch." Like, no, that's not how it works. Okay, okay, okay. So one thing that I have always said is like I'm laughing because that was funny, not an insult, obviously. So I usually don't tell people to call me bitch. Like when the podcast was created, there were three of us, right? Um, and so like yeah, most people will either call me Jazz or for the longest time when this podcast first started and people were getting to know me, people literally called me BLS. Da, da, da. She just said, I feel like that guy from Breaking Bad. Oh my God, hilarious. JV said, I only saw two. Saw two what? What did you see? But yeah, so going back and forth, even though he is on the left side, and even though Tyler Smith is very smart, he's very physically capable. Yeah, you're gonna see John. I'm serious. That's what they called me for the longest time. They just called me BLS. Now, granted, when we first started this podcast, we didn't share our names. So yeah, JV, it was three of us, and the third person you might not have seen a lot because she was a teacher. So she was literally worried about possibly losing her job for being on a podcast called Bitches Love Sports. Especially because when we first started, we were objectifying the fuck out of these players. So it's like we were called Bitches Love Sports and we were constantly talking about like who we thought was cute, who had a nice body, yada yada yada. She was a teacher, and so she was on like maybe two or three episodes. And I think the episode she was on, we were mostly talking about roller derby because we all played roller derby at the time. But yeah, she wasn't on a lot of the episodes. She was only on a few. But if you go back to, there was one episode where we were interviewing one of the founders of roller derby, like of the sport in Texas. And she was on that one. And then I think she was on like one other one. But she was in our group chat though. Like whenever we would decide what we were talking about or come up with ideas for the show, she was there. So it's like we always counted her. It's just like a lot of times people didn't see her. Um so John, if you're thinking of who wore glasses, you're thinking of the co-host who was there more consistently. And that was S Pain. And she wore glasses. But no, the third bitch did not wear glasses. CG roller games is different than the roller derby that we played. All right, we got a few more seconds left in this half. Washington just committed a false start, even though it looked like, did he kneel on purpose? Anyway, we're at halftime now, guys. So I feel like there's a lot to love and there's a lot to hate from that first half of football. The things that we have to love are what we're seeing from the offense, obviously. Like we're seeing that not only does, hold on, let me listen to what Shadi is saying. All right. Shadi was asked what more he wants to see from the offense, and he basically wants to see it keep doing what it's doing. Cool. um, so yeah, so what I like from the offense in the first half is that we're seeing that not only do the Cowboys have solid skill players, they have depth, right? We're seeing Javonte Williams do his thing. We're seeing Malik Davis also do his thing. Um, we're seeing CD and Pickens do their thing. We're seeing Tolbert do his thing. Cool. Um, I think when it comes to what I would like to see from the offense, and maybe Shadi will address this in the locker room, even though he didn't on camera. Um, we just need to see the targets get open a little bit quicker. We kind of know what the Commanders are doing, and maybe it's an issue of physical ability, right? Because we're seeing George Pickens get open with those timing routes and with those slants. He's really good at those, right? That's not something that you can just decide to do. Those are things that he's practiced, that he's good at. And maybe Tolbert isn't quite there. And for whatever reason, CD hasn't brought it out of his bag yet today. Um, so I'd like to see that on their end to help Dak with his timing. But in that same vein, I would like to see the O line do a little bit better in protection. I know these guys are young, but Tyler Booker is not a rookie anymore. Like, this is his rookie season, but nah, this season is almost over. Um, in 2 weeks, he will no longer be a rookie. So yeah, we just want to see him keep getting better, keep advancing. It'll be interesting to see what the Cowboys do with their O line in the off season based off of what we're seeing today. Like, are they going to stick with the youth on the O line? Or are they going to try to do what they did with the defensive line on the O line, where it's like, hey, they make some moves and try to get in a veteran or two to come in and be a difference maker. And the reason why I think that they might, why I consider it a possibility, is because of the fact that Shadi has talked so much about how everything with this team starts in the trenches. He says that repeatedly. So I've got to believe that he's looking at this O line and being like, hey, they're not the worst O line in the league by any means, but they could be better. What could make them better? Um, and even with Clayton Adams saying what he said about Terrence Steele in that last press conference that he did, where he's like, oh, well, you got to consider what Terrence Steele is good at. Clayton Adams was kind of defending Terrence Steele. Um, I think that's what he felt was appropriate at the time, but I don't think there's any way that you go into the offseason where you actually get to do a deep dive into these guys and what they're bringing to the table and be like, oh, yeah, this is good enough. So I think the only way that they don't make a change there is if they feel like they can't find the right piece to actually make that change beneficial. Because it's easy to say that you don't like a guy, like what a guy does, right? But it's like, all right, who do you replace them with? And that ends up being the question. So even if they don't like any particular person, that goes for any particular position or whatever, it's not just about do we like this guy or do we not. It's about like, okay, if we do like this guy, what do we do in terms of keeping them around? Do we need to adjust their role, so on and so forth? And if we don't like this guy, do we actually have an option for replacing them? What does their contract looks like? Who's available? um, what can we actually do? And we've got Clement and CG talking about the fact that the Cowboys were 4 of 4 on fourth downs, which is awesome, and 289 yards of total offense, also excellent. And a lot of that offense came from Cavante Turpin, who I did not mention when we were talking about depth. But I do need to mention that because I feel like he's going to be around for a while. He's been a great asset in terms of skill players. So he's another component of the depth that the Cowboys have on the offensive side of the ball. Let's take a look at some stats here. All right. So the Cowboys' odds of winning, or probability of winning, I should say. We don't want to use the word odds. That refers to something very specific. Cowboys' probability of winning has gone up to 96%. Dak Prescott is 11 of 20 for 174 yards with a 55% completion rating. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of those misses came on that first drive when it looked like the Cowboys were definitely trying to adjust to the tight coverage being played by the Commanders. It seems like they weren't necessarily expecting that. So 55% completion, about 8.7 yards per attempt. In terms of the run game, we've got Javonte Williams with 13 carries for four. I can talk, y'all, I promise. 54 yards. Malik Davis with 8 carries for 50 yards. Um, Malik Davis is getting more yards per carry today, largely due to that long run of 21 yards, but that is not typical for them. Let's see who else we got. Dak with 2 carries for 18 yards. Go Dak. And then when we look at the receptions, we can see the ball is definitely getting passed around. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different skill players targeted by Dak Prescott today. Um, let's see. It looks like Cavante has the best stat line on that one reception. He got 86 yards, most of that being Yak, with the 47 yards. So what that means 39 yards on the catch itself, 47 yards a Yak, and then a touchdown. So that's a really good stat line for him. I need to plug in my phone because it's telling me it's dying. Um, it's too late to like make a wish for Christmas, but my Mardi Gras wish list is like an actual webcam, maybe a new mic, an actual webcam, and either new lights or for me to finally get that power bank so I can keep the lights plugged in. Because I actually do like these lights, but they're battery operated. That's not what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. They might put Joe Milton in the second half. Even if he doesn't start the second half, they might put him in for the second half. Joe Milton just needs some refinement. He's got a rocket for an arm, but he just got to work on his decision making. I feel like stuff like that comes with experience. You get better at playing football by playing football. He needs to play more football. And some guys get the opportunity to do that, some guys don't. I feel like this Target commercial is a reference to, okay, yeah, it's Stranger Things. I actually haven't watched Stranger Things 5 yet. JV says decision making and accuracy for Milton. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you there. All right. Dallas Cowboys public relations says Dak Prescott reached 30 touchdown passes in 2025 on this play. That's a Cavante Turpin touchdown. It is his fourth season with at least 30 passing touchdowns, tied with Tony Romo for the most such seasons in franchise history. So good for him. Now, he's nowhere near that 270 yards that he needs for the record that was mentioned by Next Gen Stats. So Cavante Turpin's career-long 86-yard touchdown reception was Dallas's longest play of the season and its longest play since a 92-yard touchdown by CeeDee Lamb in 2023 against Detroit. Also, with that 4-yard rushing touchdown, Javonte Williams now has 13 total touchdowns in 2025. 11 rushing, 2 receiving. The last Cowboys running back with at least 13 touchdowns in a season was Ezekiel Elliott. And for anyone who needed an update today, they also said the Cowboys inactives today. Um, okay, so Ryan Flournoy is actually listed as inactive. I wasn't really sure. I didn't look at the injury report before the game, guys. I just noticed they weren't putting him in the game, and Tolbert was getting a lot of snaps. Um, so Demo inactive, Flournoy inactive, Kalen Carson, Jaden Blue, Jay Toya, Perry, and Winfrey. I wonder what they're gonna do with Jay Toya. He has gotten such mixed reviews this season. It's like people were really going back and forth between the love and the hate. Mingo is not inactive, but they haven't put him in the game. But JV Mingo is one of the guys that Shoddy was saying probably wouldn't get playtime today because of the quick turnaround from Sunday to today. So like all these all these guys that y'all are asking about, Mingo, Mafa, so on and so forth, I would look for them to get some snaps against the Giants. Because the Cowboys do want to evaluate those guys, but they also want to ensure a winning record. That is something that they've been vocal about wanting. And then the starters, as you can see every week, there's some kind of stat line that comes out that's a potential record. And so I think they're wanting to make sure that guys get their bonuses, um, that they can achieve their records, so on and so forth. So, in addition to who needs to be evaluated, who do we need to watch, they're also looking at those things. Why ensure a winning record? Um, I think for legacy, for posterity. I don't know that it's tied to anyone's bonus in particular or anything like that. Um, but it's just something that they've been saying. They said it on Hard Knocks. They've mentioned it in the press conferences that they want to end the season with a winning record, that they don't want a losing record. And right now, the best odds that they have is getting exactly 500. So if they win these last two games today and next Sunday, then they'll go 8-8-1. So they'll be exactly 500. JV said Jimmy Johnson didn't get a winning record starting off. Hey, you're right. I bet he would have wanted one though. I mean, I'm not mad at them wanting a winning record. I'm not. This is an interesting suit this man has on. I'm sorry I haven't been more festive for Christmas. That's why I wore red today, though. Yeah, we know he went 1-15. I'm just saying, I'm sure he would have wanted a winning record if he could have had one. I'm not saying he had any chance of getting one. Jimmy Johnson knew where he stood long before the season was over. Well, this is an interesting comment. It says, "I'm surprised I heard about Rex Ryan wants to come to the Cowboys. I really want Jim Schwartz to be a defensive coordinator." Rex Ryan has been trying to find his way into the Cowboys organization for years. Um, and I'm not sure why, if I'm being honest, because he said that uh, across the span of like multiple coaches, multiple coordinators, is just that one consistent thing that is like Rex Ryan wants to be with the Cowboys, which makes me think it has more to do with the brand than who he thinks he would actually work well with. Um, oh, thanks, JV. I appreciate the compliment. I also think I look pretty good in red. I'm surprised I don't have more red in my closet. This is like one of two red shirts that I have, but I do like it. So thank you. Um, and JV agreed. I'm not concerned about the start. It's all about the end game. The thing about the start is the start can kind of determine how you approach your end game. And I have not been talking about this game at all. I'm sorry, guys. Commanders are at 2nd and 13. Damn. Cowboys have outrushed the Commanders 127 yards to 35. I mean, the Cowboys' defensive front is doing their thing. All right, so it looks like Johnson is running. All right, so here's a funny story about this Josh Johnson guy who's a quarterback. So actually, no, I'm gonna wait until after this drive. Chris says defense has one good play, then one terrible play. Well, here's why I think that's happening, Chris. Because the Cowboys aren't doing very many things well on defense. So I think what's actually happening is that the Cowboys will do the thing that they do well. And then the Commanders are like, oh, yeah, we have to remember to not let them do that. And then they'll just do something different that exploits something that the Cowboys don't do well. Royal says, uh, Jazz, hope you're doing okay. I hope everyone's having a Merry Christmas. I hope you're having a Merry Christmas too, Royal. All right, now it looks like we're going to get a punt to Cavante Turpin. Another opportunity for the Cowboys special teams to do something better. All right, fair catch. And he actually remembers not to run after the fair catch this time. And it looks like a lot of people are in and out. So as people are in and out of the live stream, um, just remember to hit the like button, por favor. Um, what I was gonna say about Josh Johnson, the Commanders quarterback. So here's the funny story about him, and it's not really about him, and I don't know if it has anything to do with him, but um, so the comedian Josh Johnson, he's really big on YouTube. So if you haven't checked him out, you should. But the comedian Josh Johnson, I love him to death, and he told this story one time about how he went to a party and there was another guy there named Josh Johnson, and he hated that guy because they had the same name, but this guy was like tall and muscular and funny and making everybody laugh. And so it just felt like unintentionally, because they both had the name Josh Johnson, he was being compared to this guy who had so many attractive qualities that Josh himself didn't feel like he possesses, because Josh's average height, he's not a very muscular build, and he calls himself being socially awkward. And he's in a room with this other Josh Johnson who's like, tall and muscular and charismatic. And so, like, when I heard that story, I was like, I wonder if somehow he ended up at a party with Josh Johnson, the quarterback, because Josh Johnson, who's playing quarterback for the Commanders today, is like 39 years old, and Josh Johnson, the comedian, is like 35. So it's possible that they could have, like, their social circles could have overlapped at some point. So I just thought that was so funny. Anyway, Chris Johnson says run game looks good with BB at guard. Let's see. And Lipke gets the first down. So the running game is looking solid today. But I see what y'all are saying about Tyler Smith's footwork. He was so imbalanced on that last play, even though they got the runoff, but he was imbalanced. He was on one foot for a second. Yeah, no, the run game is looking good, which is why they're outrunning the Commanders by so much. All right, we got 2nd and 3. Cowboys are on their own 23 and a half. Dak in shotgun. Who's that standing next to him? I don't know what Malik Davis was supposed to be doing on that play, but it's like he immediately fell down. Dak tries to get a pass to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb tries to catch it low. Dak's passes to CD today haven't really been on point. We've seen that low passes, a couple of late passes. Now that one was a lot better. I love George Pickens. Oh, they're saying pass interference on George Pickens. Interesting. Let's see where that happens. They're getting picky on some of these calls. That was like definitely a PI by a major technicality. All right, so that puts the Cowboys at what? Third and 13. Back in shotgun. Oof. Threw it over George Pickens, putting the Cowboys in fourth and 13. So I'm guessing we're going to punt here. Well, you can't win them all. JV, when you say you want to see Lipke with more power and aggression, are you talking about specifically on the runs or on everything? Running, blocking, everything? I might put on my jacket in a second. It's starting to get chilly. What are y'all doing after this? What are y'all doing for the rest of the day? I have to work. JV said running and blocking. Now, what was that penalty for? Because I don't think they called fair catch. Okay, I think they were calling that on the Commanders for a block in the back. JV's chilling after the game, as I assume most people are. I'm hoping I can finish my work in time to go see a movie or something. Back when I was still in Louisiana, or when I would at least go home for Christmas, um, I would hang out with the male members of my family all the time. So like my grandpa would take all of my cousins to the movies. That might be why I have the taste in movies that I have now. Now that I think about it, but we would always go to the movies on Christmas. And maybe that's because that was the only thing to do in my city, especially on Christmas Day where most things were closed. But it's just like I miss doing that, and I want to go to the movies today. I don't know what I'm gonna go see though. If I do go, I might have to pull up Cinemark and see what there is to do. Maybe y'all can help me pick a movie. JV said, "What's your taste in movies?" Sure, we can do an AMA today. Um, what's my taste in movies? So I really like action movies. I like action movies. I like anime movies. I do also like musicals. Um, I like comedy movies, but I like a specific type of comedy, so I'll rarely see comedy movies in theaters. And the only time I watch rom-coms is to laugh at them because some of them are so stupid that I'm just like, this is hilarious, especially when it's bad acting. Like a rom-com with a stupid plot and bad acting, I'll watch at home just because it'll make me laugh. And I love to laugh. I love to laugh. Um, but JV said, "What movie theaters open?" I think the Cinemark theaters here are open today. I'll check in a second. But I'm trying to think. Did I see the new Jujutsu Kaisen movie? I did. I did. I saw the new Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but some of the animation, I was just like, "What the fuck?" um, I think Timothy Chalamet has a new movie that I want to see, but like for example, somebody asked me what's my favorite Christmas movie, and I was like, Gremlins. And apparently that's weird. And I'm like, first of all, there's always a channel playing Gremlins during the holidays. So there's no way that I'm the only person whose favorite Christmas movie is Gremlins and they always playing it, right? Gremlins is a fucking classic. So I'm like, people can laugh at me about that if they want to, but I'm like, clearly the evidence is showing that there are other people in this world who think Gremlins is a dope ass Christmas movie. Chris Johnson, don't judge me, but I actually have not seen Bad Santa. Jesus Christ, Cowboys defense. All right. Well, JCM just got a big ass run into the end zone for the Commanders, which is going to bring this back to a one possession game. This game should not look like this. I know Dak is like, well, I thought I was going to sit it down. Or maybe he didn't think that if he's aiming for this 270 yards. But it's like I said at halftime. I'm like, this defense has to stop playing who the guy is at quarterback. And remember that the Commanders have some amazing skill players. Like just because you got a 39-year-old behind center doesn't mean you can relax on this Commanders team. Because now this is a one possession game. Cowboys are up 24-17. The Cowboys can lose this game. It's not likely, but the Cowboys can lose this game. If the Cowboys lose this game, I'm gonna be so mad. This is about as mad as I'm gonna get. By the way, like when I say I'm gonna be so mad, like you're not. If you're watching the stream for an emotional rant when the Cowboys fuck up, you won't get it here, unfortunately. JV said I prefer a loss. Why would you prefer a loss? Sorry, my phone is doing something weird. And I'm trying to fix it, but I can't. Ah, CG said I don't think they have a draft pick next year. Let's see if Google knows, because I do not know off the top of my head. JV said Eberflus is coaching out his contract. He really is. Eberflus is coaching like he does not want to be with the Cowboys anymore. Eberflus, this defense looks like I'm like there's so many thoughts going through my head now because I'm just like one thing I was thinking about before this game started, especially with so many people talking about the Cowboys potentially tanking or whatnot, is the fact that I've never met a competitive athlete who will play in a game and not play to win. Now, what might happen is that you might have a coach make coaching decisions that take some of the best people out the game, but they're going to play to win. But I was just like, I wonder if there are guys on this defense who hate Flu so much that they will come out here and not give it 100% because they just want this man gone. Like they're like, we need to not leave any doubt that this motherfucker needs to get the fuck up out of here, along with his boys Sanborn and K9, clean them all out. And the reason why I say that is because it's like even that still goes back to coaching. Because if you're doing something so terribly where guys would put their own performance on the line for the sake of getting you out the building, that's still a reflection on you. That still means that something in your job as a coach or coordinator has not been done well. Because coaches and coordinators are more than just play callers. You know what I'm saying? There are other parts of their job that even though they get yeah, Pickens breaks a tackle, gets the first down and then some. But there are other parts of their job that if they don't do well, you'll see it in how the players perform. It's more qualitative than quantitative. It's stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet that you have to do as a coach, as a coordinator, to get these guys to buy in, to get these guys to push past their limits, give 100% week in and week out, day in and day out, you know? And so it's really starting to feel like Eberflus is fucking up on all levels. As a play caller, ugh. And then Prescott gets sacked. I wasn't even watching. I didn't see whose fault it was, JV. Did you? Let's see. Oof. That's something else Javante Williams is better at than Malik Davis. Malik Davis went in to try to make the block for Dak, and it had almost no effect. He got there. He was in his spot. He tried. He put in the effort, but he's not a good pass blocker. And now you see an empty backfield. That gets the pass off to CD, who shuffles his feet out of bounds. So yeah, that's something that I know the Cowboys look for in their running backs. Ever since they had Ezekiel Elliott come in and play that role so well, they want running backs who can pass block. That might be something else that Jadon Blue needs to work on, but it's something that, despite Malik Davis's running ability, he is absolutely going to have to work on if he wants to remain as a running back uh, with the Dallas Cowboys for an extended period of time and get more snaps. Nice. That gets an excellent pass off to CD, who is wide the fuck open. I'm still here, guys. I'm just trying to put my jacket on. It is warm outside here in Fort Worth. So I got the AC on, and so it's a little chilly, and I'm not about to go turn it off. So, all right, Dak under center gets the pass. Looks like they're gonna call it false start on the Cowboys. I'm hungry already. I don't have any snacks today, guys, so I won't eat until this stream is over. It's warm there in Memphis too. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my hair. I don't want it to cover the mic. You said Jadon Blue be flexing on Instagram like he that dude. I I don't think I've seen his Instagram. I have spent significantly less time on social media in 2025, especially the second half of 2025. Like I think I started off the year all about Twitter, all about Instagram, and due to life events, I really just don't be on there like that. And the thing with Malik Davis is I'm willing to give him a little bit of grace because of the fact that a lot of running backs have to learn how to be better pass blockers once they're already in the league. And Malik Davis hasn't gotten a lot of experience in that role. So that's why, even though I don't like what I'm seeing from him as a pass blocker, I'm willing to see what happens in the offseason in terms of his development and how he looks at training camp. Oh, Lord. CD was wide open. I don't know why Dak was having such a hard time getting that pass off. And then it got tipped and never got to him. But I feel like Dak could have gotten that off way sooner. CD was waiting for it. I don't know if maybe CD was somewhere he wasn't expected to be, and so Dak didn't. His eyes weren't looking there because CD was to Dak's right. I know Dak started off looking to the left, and then even when CD looked to the right, it looked like he got distracted by Tolbert first, and then realized that CD was sitting there in a hole in the defense, just waiting. Oof. So Dak got hit, but I think he might get a first down off of that because Dak basically was on the ground. He only needed to be tapped. So yeah, Louvu just gave the Cowboys a first down. Because I'm like, even if you didn't know that Dak had already been touched, because I think somebody had touched him. But it's like, even if you didn't know, all you needed to do was touch him because Dak was leaned over, like he was bent over. He had been down, and as soon as somebody touched him, he would have been ruled down. So, like, there was really no need for him to go in that hard and make that hit like that. He could have just gone two hand touch, and that series would have been over for the Cowboys. But thanks for the first down. And I think, speaking on behalf of the Commanders for a second, I think that's one of the things that Commanders fans are frustrated about when it comes to Luvu, because Luvu is actually like a really good player in terms of his physicality, but that's not his first time allowing his aggressiveness to earn the defensive penalty. That's something he's really going to have to rein in, because I'm a Cowboys content creator, but I like good players. I'll be watching Luvu. I do. I like him as a player. I want to see him do well. Not today, but I want to see him do well. But yeah, he's going to have to rein that in. He's going to have to do better when it comes to the penalties. And Dak lets it fly, goes over CD Lamb and the defender, brings up a 3rd and 8 for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not gonna lie, CD and Dak look out of sync today. CD has been having to adjust his routes a lot, to slow down a lot. The ball is going to places where it's not really to his advantage to try to get it. I don't know what's happening there. Anyway, we've got a 3rd and 8. Cowboys on their own 26. It gets it to Tolbert, but I don't think Tolbert got both feet down. Yeah, ruled incomplete. See, that's one of those things where if that was George, I think George would have got both feet down in bounds. JV says, why run Malik Davis so much? Use Hunter Lipke. CD Lamb has not been aligned with Dak Prescott all season. Now that you mention it, it has been a rough season for them, for that duo. Why run Malik Davis so much? I think just because it's the end of the season and they've run Javante Williams a lot. That'll take a toll on you after a while. Like, we got to remember, they just had a game on Sunday. It's Thursday, right? So it could be that Javante needs a little bit more recovery time. Because it's like, if you keep running dudes and they're not totally recovered, it can lead to a situation where they're more prone to injury. Oh, not that guy again. But it can lead to a situation that where they're prone to injury, because at this point of the season, almost nobody's 100% healthy. Guys deal with stuff that does not show up on the injury report all the time. So what you don't want to do is run a guy into the ground. And I think that's why we've seen Javante Williams get some carries today, because they're going to play him some, but they're really trying to get Malik Davis more reps, both for Malik Davis's benefit and also for Javante Williams to not get run into the ground. John, when you say you had to check on your mac and cheese, are you making mac and cheese? Like, what do you mean by your mac and cheese? You cooking out here? JV says Hunter Lipke though. Okay, I'll agree with you on that one. Um, there have been a couple of press conferences where uh the way that Shotty talks and the way Clayton Adams talks, it's almost like they don't always realize who they're neglecting during the game. So it is possible that you're completely right, and that Hunter Lipke should be getting more snaps, Malik Davis should be getting less, and they're so in the moment that they don't realize it until they're going back and looking at film. John said, "Yeah, as a Bears fan, I know all about it. All about what? Mac and cheese or dudes getting injured?" Merry Christmas, Daniel. Thanks for stopping by. Hit the like button. I'm so hungry, guys. I should have eaten a bigger breakfast. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with these Santa coats. I'm sorry. The Netflix broadcast is distracting. Um I think any attempts to get the Bears to take Eberflus back is a lost cause. I think Bears fans wouldn't allow Eberflus to come back as a water boy. All right, we got a 1st and 15 after Commanders' false start. They're on their own 30-yard line. Looks like Johnson is in shotgun. Cowboys send 5. Johnson escapes, slides down almost into, I think that was Shamar James. Dennis Allen is an anti-flus. The Cowboys need to find an anti-flus. I don't believe you cannot convince me that the Cowboys want Eberflus back. I just think it's a matter of who they replace him with and how these contracts work out. And Reddy Stewart. Oh, Cowboys almost got it picked it off. Reddy Stewart is fucking phenomenal. I need to find this guy. I just want to talk to him for a second. I also want to know whose idea it was to use Reddy Stewart this way. Because that doesn't seem like an Eberflus choice, but it's happening. And I'm just like, whose idea was this? Who pulled this out of Reddy Stewart? And maybe that's who should be the next coordinator. Ugh. Looked like James Houston was close to getting a sack, but didn't quite get there. John Johnson gets it off to Terry McLaurin, who gets a first down and then some. And yes, it was Revel on the coverage. We got a trick play from the Commanders. It's gonna result in lost yards. And why did it take 4 people to bring Burks down and almost didn't do it? Jesus Christ, these men cannot tackle. Even Dak's face is looking like, what the fuck just happened? He stiff arms one guy. They talking about discipline by the Cowboys defense. I'm sorry. I feel like that had more to do with inefficiency by the Commanders offense. Because like Burks could have easily got that pass off. He just didn't. and he gave four different dudes the opportunity to try to bring him to the ground, and it still took them like 3.23 seconds. What the fuck? Revel apparently was a fingertip away from getting a face mask. Or are they going to call it? Nope, they're calling it. Albert, they do have coaches just for tackling. That's why I talk so much shit, not only about Eberflus, but about the entire defensive coaching staff. Those guys don't usually make headlines, but hold on, let me see if I can pull up who it actually is. But yeah, like when we watch these practices, or I should say watched past tense, I haven't been to practice in a while. But it's not only the head coach and the coordinators out there, it's a whole slew of guys out there running them through drills, giving them feedback, so on and so forth. Um, so this is according to Google. According to Google, it says the Dallas Cowboys don't list a specific tackling coach, but their defensive coaching staff, led by defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, handles tackling, with Brian Bing as the assistant defensive line coach and Dave Bergonzi as linebackers coach, focusing on those areas where tackling is critical. So typically, what you'll have is you'll have your coordinator, then you'll have your position coaches, and then you'll have assistant position coaches. So somebody in that flow chart is supposed to make sure that these dudes can tackle. And so whether it happens, at a team practice, so like when the team practices happen, each unit has opportunities to go over whatever they need to go over. So like one of my favorite units to watch was always the defensive line, and they would be over there on the little padded things. I forget what that thing is called. But they would be working on their technique. And the Cowboys even have drills where they work on tackling technique. My criticism of the tackling drills that I've seen them do is that they're ineffective, or they seem ineffective against guys who are actually trying to actively stop you from tackling them, or guys who are moving. Because the tackling drills that I've seen is them trying to, like running to a pad that is stationary and tackling it with a certain form. But if you are being stiff armed, or a guy is spinning, or a guy is jumping, or a guy is running away from you, right? That's where we've seen the Cowboys have trouble. Like, do they have trouble wrapping up on the right area of the body? Yes. But they also seem to slip off guys who are running away. They get stiff armed very easily. They don't bring down guys who are spinning. And I'm like, okay, that's the stuff that we need to work on. And I know it's possible to work on it because I've seen guys work on it, like on other teams. And we've seen other teams be a lot better at it. But the Cowboys, for some reason, are missing the mark on that, and have for like the past couple of seasons. But yeah, they got a whole crew of people who are supposed to be like, all right, let's make sure y'all can tackle. John, that might be what it's called. I do think it's some kind of sled. But no, I don't think they need a specific tackling coach. I think they need position coaches who are better at teaching how to tackle. And maybe that would be a tackling coach. Like maybe in a roundabout way, you have a point. Maybe they do be like, all right, we're gonna go find a tackling coach, and we'll make him the assistant linebackers coach. But all his job is to make sure that these motherfuckers can actually bring a man to the ground. He goes in for the interview, and they're like, have you ever tackled a man before? Have you ever tackled a man while moving? You think you could teach somebody else how to do that? You think you could do that for like a year? All right, you have yourself a job. JV said they need to be afraid of punishment for missing tackles. You don't think looking like a dumbass on national television and getting run the fuck over is punishment enough? I just don't think any of them want to look like that. Jamie said, apparently not. Can't argue with you there. Because I'm gonna be honest, if I was one of them and I went back and looked at film of myself tackling like that, I'm like, I'm practicing tackling on somebody. I don't care if I got to get in somebody's gym, practice hitting a heavy bag, have one of my homies come to the mat with me, like, hey, I'm gonna pay you this amount of money. You gonna let me take you to the ground over and over again. I want you to run. I want you to try to spin out. We're gonna work on my tackling today. I would have to do something to handle this better. John says each position coach should be teaching that they just don't have the right staff. Yeah, agreed. They should be teaching that. And it's like, here's the thing. Even if you don't have time to teach it, or you feel like what they need to work on falls outside of the parameters and the rules that the NFL allows for practices, you can always teach them a drill that they can do on their own. I did that with my team all the time because we only had a certain amount of time for practice, and with roller derby we didn't get paid. So there were some people who couldn't go to all the practices. I would go in our group chat or via email and be like, "Hey, look at this drill. Y'all need to try this in your free time. Or next time you're practicing on your own, try this. This is something that you can do at home. This is something that you can do in the gym." There are so many ways that you can get these guys to adopt the skills that they need in order to be better at their job. There's so many ways. And so when I see guys who just go a whole fucking season unable to tackle, I'm just like, their their coaches are not presenting them with solutions. They lack creativity. They might lack knowledge. Hell, I don't know. They might lack experience. They're lacking in something. JV said, I remember when the defense used to swarm the football. Nowadays, I see guys who are trailing just to stop. JV, I think that's a coaching philosophy difference. I think that's a difference between um, what they were taught and encouraged to do in the past versus what they were taught and encouraged to do now. But that's just me guessing. So I'm responding to a text. The coordinators didn't have press conferences this week because they normally do them on Thursday. But I can't wait to see how Eberflus's press conference goes next week. It'll be his final one for the season. Malik Davis and Hunter Lipke both have no power at the point of attack. I know with Malik Davis, I think he's still learning how to do it. Albert says, I'm beginning to think you should be an NFL coach. I would do it. I would do it just for the plot. I don't know how that would go. Um, Not because I don't think I have like I think from a knowledge perspective, I could maybe do it. I could be somebody's assistant, something, right? I could be in the room making recommendations. But kind of like how I talked about how there are multiple jobs that a coach or a coordinator has to do in order to be effective. I think that's when we might get into a little trouble. I I don't know if I'm the type of coach that those guys would listen to, or if they would just see a woman with makeup on who giggles too much and just not take me seriously. But conceptually, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. Chris said, "Who's on your defensive coordinator coach list for next year?" I don't have a list right now. Royal has been in the chat talking about Jim Schwartz multiple times. That's somebody that I'll probably Google. And that gets the pass off to Spanford. We don't hear that name nearly enough. Shout out to Brevin Spanford. Supposedly Brian Flores is a free agent, but there are several reasons why I don't see that happening. uh, Chris said that's how you get yak. That is indeed how you get yak. And we got Malik Davis with a solid little, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 yard run. I saw the yak JV. That gets another good pass off. It was headed straight for a CD, but got tipped at the last second. Ugh. We're in the fourth quarter. This is a one possession game. The Cowboys actually do need to score on this drive if they want to win. CD is frustrated. If we can see that him and Dak have not been on the same page this season, I'm sure he feels it. It's not something that I expect them to talk about in the media because the media don't know how to act and they will make a mountain out of a molehill. But it's something that they're gonna handle at some point. I was about to look up something. All right, according to Google, potential new defensive coordinators for the Dallas Cowboys are Jim Schwartz, Brian Flores, and Mike Pettine. If they bring Brian Flores up in here, I might literally have a heart attack. I don't know what that pass was doing. I felt like Dak might have done better running there. Anyway, it brings up a 4th and 7 for the Cowboys. That was a weird drive. We need Aubrey to make this field goal because what we don't want is for the Commanders to start thinking that we don't want to give them hope right now. There's too much time for them to capitalize on hope. Oh, the kick is wide. Aubrey's been having some trouble late in the season. Aubrey had like a 80 something percent percent success rate with field goals 50 plus coming into the season, and it's just been a rough year for him. And it might not even be him. One thing that I've learned from like watching some of these sports documentaries is that the holder has a very important job. Like there are apparently a lot of very small things that can go wrong with a field goal kick. Everything from where the kicker's eyes are to how he plants his foot to what the holder does and if the ball is tilted or not, or if it's tilted the right way, or if the holder is holding the ball too hard, or if they get the snap weird. Contract year pressure? Mm, that does not align with the image of Brandon Aubrey that we've been given. He just doesn't seem like the type to start messing up because of contract year. I am more likely to believe that it could be that maybe he's seeing different things going for the kick because there's been a lot of noise about Brandon Aubrey. So it's possible that maybe what he's seeing from the other team in terms of their special teams formations is making him feel like he has to rush the kick. You know, do we have a new holder? No. They've actually made a very big deal about keeping that crew together of the guy who does the snap and the hold and Aubrey. That's been a very big deal. Oh, look at the Cowboys actually stopping them from converting on 2nd and 1. But the Dallas Cowboys defensive front has done a lot better than the unit as a whole today. So that was James and who? James and Houston. All right, Josh Johnson under center. And they pushed the Commanders back some more. So as rough as that last drive was for the Cowboys, it looks like the Commanders are having an even harder time. They keep getting pushed back. Now they've got a 4th and 3 coming up. Are they going for it? Or are they gonna punt it? Yeah, they're going for it. They're probably gonna try to get the pass off because that's where the Cowboys have been the weakest in defending. Looks like some issues with the false start. And that's gonna put them at 4th and 8. Let's see if they still go for it. And it looks like now they're gonna punt it. So stop by default for the Cowboys. Another fair catch by Turpin. JP said, finally, defense. JV, I feel like that stop had more to do with the Commanders fucking up and getting that false start than it did with the defense actually stepping up. Chicago is on Sunday Night Football this week, aren't they? Yep. Sunday, December 28th, 7:20 p.m. Bears at 49ers. I don't know if I'm gonna live stream that one. I want to because I kind of want to see what happens if if what do Bears call their fan base? I forget. My brain is saying Bears Kingdom, but that sounds ridiculous. I'll be using the hashtag Bear Down when I talk about them on Twitter. But anyway, I'm wondering if they would show up for a live stream, if the algorithm would bring them to my channel, because I do want to talk about them during the playoffs. Um, where are they at right now? NFC standings. I really feel like, as great as this season has been for the Bears, I feel like it would have been even better if it weren't for Roma Dunze having some injury issues. JVB nice. um, let's see. The Bears have clinched their playoff spot. Looks like the division is technically still in question. Technically. Are white people allowed to say for shizzle my nizzle? Well, he just said it. I don't think anybody's doing anything about it. And they just called the Sea Walk the Christmas Walk. I'm done. Snoop Dogg has officially made gangbanging quaint. John said Nizzle gets a pass. Okay. I don't make these rules. I just try to keep up with what they are. All right. Cowboys on their own 10-yard line, back in shotgun. Malik Davis on the field. He does a little bit better with the pass blocking with some help from BB. I don't know who this guy is, but go away. You're killing the vibe. Banning that guy might have been a little bit extreme. I know he's not watching anymore, but sorry. Why is Coon? Chris, I think you got a typo in there, and I can't tell what question you're asking. Anyway, we see Malik Davis getting. Are they going to give him the first down? Yeah, they gave him the first down. Man, the NFC East really turned back into the NFC least this year. They were kind of fighting that reputation for a couple seasons, and then 2025 came and they were like, nah, we going back to our roots. This division is terrible. So why Schoonmaker gets more burn than BSF? That's a good question. Somebody should ask Shotty that in the next press conference. JV said, I never saw his post. He must have had me blocked. I think I blocked it so quick because I blocked it before I even finished reading it. I was just like, what the hell are you talking about? Get out of my chat. I'm sorry. I'm hungry. I'm getting cranky. I need to eat. All right. We got Cowboys with a 3rd and 1. It actually looks like less than one to convert. We got Dak. Looks like he's lining up under center. Quarterback sneak gets the first down. But yeah, JV, that's why I was like, banning him might have been a little extreme because I didn't even read the whole comment. I was just like, don't come in here talking about pagan traditions. That's not what this stream is for. And Dak is getting sacked again. How many times has he been sacked? Is that the 3rd one? Got sacked by a rookie. That was, I don't think that was Steele who fucked up. I couldn't really see the numbers on the replay. All right, 2nd and 16 for the Cowboys. That gets the ball off to Mingo. Shout out to the Jonathan Mingo fans who've been wanting to see him get some snaps. I felt that like that coverage was a bit aggressive. Thought they might throw a flag on that one, but no. No. In slow motion, I can see it. That was clean. This is why I'm not a ref, y'all. I will never pretend. uh, they don't have his sacks on here. And Dak gets a deep pass off to Lipke, who was fighting hard for that first down. At least he held on to the ball because they were doing everything. Looks like they were trying to hold him up and strip the ball. So now we got a 4th down and what, 2? 4th and 2. All right, Prescott gets a pass off to Tolbert, who immediately runs into a defender. See, it's those little things. It's those little things. Like I feel like George or CD would have been able to stop and go around that defender in order to get a few more yards. Tolbert, on the other hand, yeah, the decision making just wasn't there. I mean, luckily he got the first down, right? But you could kind of see how he had some room to kind of stop, cut inside, and maybe get a few more yards. But JV, you think Flournoy would have got some more yards on that too? I mean, Flournoy has looked good these past few weeks. It's not outside the realm of possibility. There's a flag on somebody for something. Let's see. Holding. Defense number 95. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down. Cool. We'll take it. All right. Cowboys on the Commanders 39. Hey, Blue Star, how's it going? How about them Cowboys indeed? Right now, the Cowboys are eating this clock like I wish I was eating some chicken wings. Ugh. My stomach is literally growling right now. I hope y'all don't hear it in the mic. Malik Davis coming off. We got Lipke in the backfield with Dak. Dak in shotgun. Oof. That play broke down very early. Dak still tried to get it off. Yeah, Lipke didn't really help on both Lipke and BB kind of fell short on that play in terms of protecting Dak. Yeah, yeah, I agree, Chris. BB is struggling a little bit today. It's the agile guys who seem to really be fucking with BB right now. Because obviously BB is big and strong, but it's like these guys are making like one move to one side or the other and he's not able to keep up with them. You can see he's reaching. He's not moving his body with them. He's reaching. And once you start doing that, these defensive linemen, they know they have you. So he needs to work on his footwork. Blue Star, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. JV said Hunter Lipke has been missing blocks all season. I mean, he's learning how to fight a little bit better for yards. Not saying that that's an excuse. I'm just all right. So it looks like they're going to give Aubrey another chance. Now he gets a 50 plus. There we go. I don't think I'm gonna get my wish of seeing the Cowboys perform better with their red zone offense today. Because they've been scoring from outside the red zone. The Cowboys are like, you know how we can get around our bad red zone offense? Don't wait to get in the red zone to score. Yeah. we'll just stay out of the red zone. Sorry, I need to reply to my editor. John said we don't need no seeking red zone offense. They don't. Looks like Blue is asking about staying aggressive against good teams. Yeah, that's something that they'll have to think about next season. It's kind of like, I mean, to that, I would make the same point that I made when y'all were talking about pride and effort on Sunday, which is that like I put aggression in that same category where you can play with pride, you can play with effort, you can play with aggression, but at the end of the day, you do need answers. You need plays and you need scheme. And if you don't have those things, all the want to, all the aggression in the world won't save you. Because the guys on the other side of the line, they're aggressive too. They got pride too. They're professionals too. JV, that's a good question. Thank you. I still haven't seen Wicked yet, y'all. I feel so bad. All right. We got a two possession game with 3:53 left in the fourth. I don't see the Commanders getting back in this game. But are you a musical fan, JV? First down Commanders getting out to their own 39-40 ish. It looks like they're trying to go pretty fast. It looks like they want to make an attempt to get back in the game. But as bad as the Cowboys defense has been playing, I don't see them playing that bad. But maybe if they just keep letting them get off consecutive first down conversions. Whew. Oh, the Wiz is dope. I love the Wiz. How many Stewards has Reddy? How many snaps has Reddy Stewart gotten today? I feel like he's on the field damn near every play. And another first down for the Commanders. Seems like the Cowboys really just gonna let them roll down the field. What are y'all doing? Somebody's hurt. Is that Revel? It's not clear what's wrong. I am alarmed by the fact that he is not moving at all. I'm hoping it's just a stinger, Chris. All right. The new Avatar movie is out. I really want to see Marty Supreme, though. I can't even really tell what it's about, but it looks like an exciting movie. When are y'all going to see that Anaconda movie? It looks kind of silly. It looks like one of the movies that I would wait until it's available for home streaming before I go see it. Is Wicked out of theaters? It's been out for like a month, right? I might have missed my chance. Chris said, "What time are we going to the movies?" I don't know if I'm going at all. Yeah, Wicked is out of theaters. So I'll have to wait and stream it another time. JV said, "Are there any horror or zombie movies?" duh, 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 duh. The Housemaid is a horror movie, right? Oh yeah, hoping for a fresh start, a young woman becomes a live-in maid for a wealthy couple who harbors sinister secrets. That sounds more like a thriller than a horror movie, but I think it is supposed to be kind of scary, kind of creepy, that kind of thing. Same thing with Primate. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is out. I don't think I'm gonna go see that one today, but oh wait, they do have some showings for Wicked. All right, game's back on. So there's a 7:35 showing of Wicked at a theater that's near me that I could go see. I don't really need to though. Tomorrow might actually be a better day for me to go to a movie. And the Commanders get a 51-yard field goal. John said, "I'm not a horror movies guy, but I will watch anything else." I used to not be a horror movie person, but Jordan Peele changed me. Did any of y'all see him in theaters? I saw it. I had mixed feelings about it that we can talk about another day. But I was expecting it to be better than what it was. I'll say that. I want to go see Wicked just because I saw the first one and I want to see the second one. I think I would need to rewatch Five Nights at Freddy's before I watch part two. But I'm just really curious about this Marty Supreme movie. And I think it has later showings. So it might be easier for me to get to it after work. Yeah, they have a 10 p.m. showing of Marty Supreme. Oh, wait, no, that's for tomorrow. Today, they also have a 10 p.m. showing of Marty Supreme. And we got Turpin running on the return, average return. CG says Jordan Peele is a good filmmaker. Just don't let him try to make another horror anthology. His Twilight Zone run was disappointing. What do you mean by horror anthology? Are you talking about the Get Out and then Nope and then what was it? Us and then him? I actually liked so okay. So CG, I actually liked those movies. I liked Nope. I liked Us. I liked Get Out. I think I didn't like him, but one thing we have to remember about him is that he didn't actually write him. That was a script um that he got from someone else. Okay, whatever y'all are talking about with Jordan Peele and Twilight Zone is something I think I might have missed it. But with him, that was a script that he got from someone else, and then he decided to produce the movie and direct it. But the actual plot, which was the part that I didn't like, and some of the dialogue, that wasn't necessarily him. All right, now I gotta Google Jordan Peele and Twilight Zone so we can get this straight. All right. Did Jordan Peele, he was a key developer, writer, narrator, and executive producer for the 2019 reboot of the classic anthology series. He worked on alongside Simon Kingberg and Marco Ramirez to continue the legacy of the creator Rod Serling. Da-da-dum. So yeah, it says he narrated, executive produced, and wrote some episodes. So you probably have to look episode by episode to see which ones he wrote and produced and which ones he was just a narrator for. But that's more and more common in today's TV. Like American Horror Story is like that. That was one of the problems with the Daredevil series, where it's just like they'll have a couple writers write one episode and then other writers write another episode. Um, and so there's some continuity, but not as much as you'd like. All right, we got a run by Malik Davis on 2nd and 4, brings him to what looks like about 3rd and 1. There's only a minute and 53 seconds left in the game. I'm trying to see if Dak has anything else to play for. I think he might have hit that 270 mark that he was aiming for. He's probably only in the game because it's a one possession game. But yeah, Dak, 286 yards, so he's good there. This might end up being another 300-yard game for him. Unless they get close enough to start kneeling it out and just call it. It is Christmas after all. That gets the ball off to George Pickens, who gets yak, which JV loves to see. that was like that was like 10, 12 yards of yak for Pickens on that one. Love this guy. Like, where have you been all my fandom? With the Steelers, we know, but damn. I don't think I've ever been so glad to see a player leave his old team, because the way they talked about George Pickens, you would have thought that he was the worst type of teammate, the most non-productive POS to ever wear black and yellow. And then he comes here, everybody loves him. He's a Pro Bowler. It just goes to show you how much of a difference environment and coaches and teammates can make. All right, another run by Malik Davis. Tackled inside the 40. That's going to bring him to, I don't know, timeout by the Commanders. I guess they're trying to reserve as much clock as they possibly can. So now Dallas has one more timeout. The Commanders have none. So after this game, for those of you who are going to continue watching more NFL football today, we've got Lions and Vikings and Broncos and Chiefs. Both of those should be good games. Like I said, I got to work, but we got Dak under center, two receivers and a running back on the field. Hand off to Lipke, who gets looks like about 3 or 4 yards. So you're gonna have third and 2 or 3, but the clock is ticking. Washington is out of timeouts. Dallas is more than happy to let this clock run. So this is pretty much it. I believe we're gonna end up with the final score of 30-23. JV said I don't think there's any horror anime movies in theaters right now. What I'm about to do, JV, after this game is I'm going to eat and then I'm going to get to work so that I can hopefully get work out of the way early. I have content that I want to post. I've got articles I want to write. Did they ever say what happened to Javon Revel? They came back from commercial and didn't really address it. I guess it's nothing that serious. Well, apparently the broadcasters think Lipke is like a torpedo. JV, you might want to have some words with them. So apparently he walked off the field and went to the medical tent. No update since then. That was several minutes ago. And they get the conversion on 4th and 1. And that's the game. Well, that was fun, guys. Yeah. So hopefully Siobhan Revel is okay. We've got 2 more NFL games today. Not we. There are 2 more NFL games today. And then it looks like there's a game on 2 games on Saturday, and then the remaining games for this week on Sunday. So y'all will see me on Tuesday for sure. Y'all will see me on Sunday, perhaps. Y'all will see me next Sunday, absolutely. So as always, hit the like button before you leave. Drop something in the chat before you leave. Drop something in the comments if you're watching this after the fact, which apparently people do. Subscribe. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Hype my videos when you see them. The long form videos, you should be able to hit that hype button. That helps me out. Anyway, I'm gonna go get some food. Y'all have a great day. Hope y'all got something good in your stockings. Love you guys. This has been another episode of How Do You Hype, Chris? Um, I'm about to just take a screenshot and like show you because I couldn't. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Because I was trying to find a way to show y'all, but it wouldn't come up when I. Yeah, I'm about to take a screenshot next time I see it. You can't hype yourself, so it doesn't always come up in desktop mode. Um, but I'll definitely show y'all. But basically, if you scroll along the bottom, like where it says like share and comment and other stuff like that, there's a button that says hype that you should be able to push, and it helps my videos get more visibility. Anyway, This has been another episode of Bitches Love Sports. I'm your host, Jazz Monet, and I'm out.
You only think of us as a bitches when you intimidated. Put it that way. I think
people look at a woman and she's an aggressive woman who's out to get what she wants to get. You know what I'm saying? Ambitious, and they want to say, you know, when a male is assertive, this what he wants. He's looked at as a strong male, but yet when I get it, you know, I'm a bitch.
Exactly.
And if that's what I gotta be, exactly, to get what I want and to make it somewhere, then I'll just be that.